Every time I look at Mount Kilimanjaro, I'm reminded that the mountain isn't what we climb. It's what we become while we're climbing. Most people think that the mountain is about strength, but for me, it's always been about faith. Faith that the next step will matter, even when you can't see how far that there is left to go. Living here in Tanzania, surrounded by this mountain every day, has taught me more about courage and surrender than any book or speech ever could. Because the mountain doesn't test your body. It tests your belief in what's really possible. The first time I sat or stood at Kilimanjaro's trailhead, I thought it was just going to be another adventure, another challenge to prove what's possible. But it didn't take long for me to realize that this mountain wasn't about conquering anything. It was actually about surrendering everything. Out there, titles don't matter, pride doesn't matter. The mountain doesn't care who you are. It only asks that you show up and you keep taking the next step or the next push. And in that way, it becomes a mirror, reflecting every story you've ever told yourself about what you can do or what you can't do. When my team and I climbed Kilimanjaro, we took the Marengo route. The hardest part of that climb was not the summit itself. It was summit day. Long before we even reached Stella Point, my back and my neck were in so much pain. It hurt literally just to hold my head up. It felt like my skull had turned into a ton of bricks. I remember during a short break, laying on my back in the scree, under the clouds and the sunlight, and whispering to myself, I can't take this pain anymore. But then another thought hit me. I didn't come this far to give up. I thought about my friends who we've lost to suicide, which were the reason I was climbing the mountain to begin with. The friends who felt like they just couldn't keep going. And I knew in that moment that I had to keep pushing for them. I thought about the incredible men, the Tanzanians who were taking turns carrying me on their backs because that part of the mountain was inaccessible for my wheelchair. Their shirts were soaked in sweat. I could literally feel their muscles trembling from exhaustion. And I remember at one point reaching up to wipe the sweat off of the forehead of one of the guys that was carrying me. I was just trying to show him how much I truly appreciated him. I couldn't quit. Not when they were giving everything they had to help me reach the top. That's when I realized strength isn't about who carries the weight. It's about how we carry each other. And faith is what keeps you moving when your body is screaming for you to stop. Kilimanjaro isn't just a mountain, it's a teacher. It's a mirror. It strips away everything that isn't real until all that's left is your truth. You start that climb with baggage, with fear, with doubt, pride, pain. And somewhere in between the rainforest and the summit, you leave pieces of it behind. Because the mountain doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you need. It shows you where you're strong and where you still need to grow. And maybe that's what faith really is. Not believing that everything will be easy, but trusting that every step has a purpose. Every morning that I see Kilimanjaro outside of my window, I'm reminded that courage, it isn't always loud. It doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's quiet. It's a whisper that says, just one more push. And that whisper, that's where faith lives. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey through Accessible Africa. In the next episode, I'll be talking about what it really means to unlearn extreme independence and how asking for help isn't it's one of the most freeing lessons of my life. Until then, I want you to remember, whatever mountain you're metaphorically climbing, the mountain, it isn't there to break you. It's there to build you.